How are we doing? Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded and we had a time to sit down and talk about Chelsea. I've been away. I tried to make videos when I was away, but look, it just wasn't happening. It wasn't the right setting. I couldn't get stuff uploaded. The Wi-Fi was so bad and I'm back. We need to talk about so many things. We're going to have to get a few videos out. There's no doubt about it, but it has been crazy. Saudi Arabia is arguably the biggest news story of this transfer window so far, followed closely by Chelsea and their unbelievable ability to sell dead wood for amazing prices. If you'd have asked me a week ago, 2 weeks ago, if I thought Chelsea's transfer window would be this exciting, this early on, I would have said not a chance, because it was looking so bleak. All of a sudden, today has probably been one of the craziest days in Chelsea's recent history regarding transfers. It's been crazy. Every single player that was linked or had a question mark above their head has pretty much had a deal confirmed today. We've seen HAVERTZ, Kovacic, Mendy, Kante's left. He was already gone pretty much anyway. Koulibaly, Ziyech, Callum Hudson-Odoi's being asked to go, Mason Mount, Lukaku, all these players. It's gone crazy at Chelsea Football Club. Okay, we haven't brought in a lot of players yet, but Nkunku got announced yesterday. Moises Caicedo is literally liking every Instagram post Chelsea put up at the moment. Football's gone so mad within a couple of days. I'm loving it. Chelsea Football Club are back at the top of everyone's hate list, and every Chelsea fan knows that's where we want to be. That is the place where people are worried about Chelsea Football Club and we live rent-free in their heads. I love it, boys. I don't know about you and girls. This is the best feeling. This is one of the top feelings as a football fan, knowing that every other club has a massive agenda against you. It's brilliant. But we need to talk about it. We need to talk about these players that are going, because I can't keep up. I love the transfer window. I love trying to keep up with what's going on. But football's gone crazy. And the biggest one, the most craziest story of the whole summer, is the Saudi Arabian football enterprise investment group who have links to Chelsea. They own Newcastle. Their name's in every article regarding transfers right now. We need to talk about it, because Chelsea Football Club have made ridiculous money and almost evened out the books on a ridiculous FFP scenario that I had doubts that we'd ever be able to rectify, and it looks like we have, because of thanks to Todd Boehly and his mission to Saudi Arabia. Chelsea Football Club are balancing the books and getting rid of the most ridiculous dead wood. Mendy, Ziyech, Koulibaly, Kante. I'm trying to think, like, there's so many links. Hudson-Odoi, Lukaku. Have I missed anyone? I probably have. Like, it's been ridiculous today. That's it. Literally, I saw on Twitter this morning, Fabrizio Romano, here we go, here we go, here we go. I think there was 5 here we goes within 2 hours from him. And it was all Chelsea. It's crazy. Do you know what? A lot of people are talking about the Saudi League, and I think I'm going to have to make a whole separate video on it, because it's been crazy. But most of the players Chelsea is selling or sold or let go and passed on to Saudi Arabian football are of an age where it's probably acceptable for them to move to one of these sort of countries where you can go for retirement, the last big paycheck. Koulibaly come in from Napoli. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. I wanted it to. He took the 26 shirt. He called up JT. I was like, this is it. This is our replacement. This is another shrewd Thiago Silva signing. But what it does is it just shows the absolute level of Thiago Silva, because Koulibaly wasn't able to do it. And right now, we're looking at all this money that he's on. I think it was getting close to 300 grand, I was reading in some articles. And we've been able to sell him for 17 or something million, recoup a little bit of the fee that we paid, and offload his ridiculous wages. And he's going to got paid more in Saudi Arabia. This is amazing. I'm happy for him to go. On to the next one. Ziyech. Ziyech is a player for me that's been so frustrating, so ridiculously talented, so much talent in his left foot, but the complete opposite end of the scale for work rate, desire, Ziyech never really looked like he wanted to wear a Chelsea shirt, and with every manager that came and went, it looked even less likely that he would. And obviously, January, he wanted that move to PSG, but his eyes probably lit up when he realised he could go and double his wages, already ridiculous, out in Saudi Arabia. I do not blame Ziyech for going. Not at all. Fair play. Go and enjoy it, Ziyech, because you want to enjoy life more than you want to play football, I think. Albeit a very talented footballer. Off you go. I would literally, if I could, would take all these players to Saudi Arabia. It is, without doubt, an amazing solution for Chelsea Football Club. This summer, what it means for football going forward, I think is a big, big, big talking point. Believe me, the European Super League didn't happen. It's happening in Saudi Arabia. All right? Because I'm seeing this tonight that apparently Bernardo Silva, the champions, he just won a Champions League. He's not even 30, could be on his way. That's the biggest one. Talk to me about Ronaldo, Benzema, Kante. All these players are approaching the end. He's in his prime. It's crazy that he could be going there. But back to Chelsea. We're looking at Lukaku, still a bit quiet. Let's go back to England quickly. Kai Havertz. Another pretty much, not necessarily here we go yet, but Ornstein tweeted, and when he tweets, he means business. £65 million is an unbelievable bit of business from Chelsea Football Club. If that fee plus bonuses is achieved, I have absolutely never, ever, ever, ever in my life loved Arsenal more. Because they are literally relieving Chelsea of one of our worst players I can think of in recent history. Kai Havertz has been appalling for the last, literally since that goal against City. Like, he's been awful. And I cannot believe that Arsenal think that they're getting a good deal, paying 65 million. We are not strengthening our rival, albeit we're selling to a London one, which is questionable. And at first I was like, what are we doing? And Havertz will probably go there and do okay because their forward line's a bit different to Chelsea and the way they play is different to Chelsea. And it may suit him. But honestly, like, 65 million, I've got no words. If they're the figures that are being talked about, if we are able to negotiate a figure in and around that mark, that is unbelievable business. Unbelievable business. Havertz, off you go. Thank you. Cheers, Arsenal, for literally saving Chelsea of a geezer that scored 4 goals. You're paying 65 million. I heard people saying that they would play him in the Xhaka role. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, Kai Havertz in the Xhaka role. Please, have you even watched this guy play? If Kai Havertz proves me wrong, fair play. Fair play. Like, honestly, if he can go and play the Xhaka role, then I don't even know. Like, I literally don't know what to say. If he does that, I'll be so amazed. But I have not seen any evidence whatsoever that he could replicate that role. He can't string a pass together. His dribbling's horrific. He has one of the worst first touches for what is supposed to be a technical number 10 I've seen in the Premier League and Europe. This guy going for 65 million to Arsenal when he was linked with Real Madrid is just beyond crazy. I couldn't be happier. And actually, I don't even mind that he's going to Arsenal. And our track record, we sign all of Arsenal's best ever players and they take our absolute flops. Geezer scored minimal goals, not a striker, not a number 10. He don't even know his best position because when you ask him, he goes, I'm versatile. I'm over the moon with that. I'll tell you what I'm not over the moon with. Mateo Kovacic. Kova, I've wished him well. I've said in a previous couple of videos that, honestly, if he goes, he goes. I understand why he'd go. He needs to win more and more titles. He's right on the cusp of being talked about on the level of some of the greatest players around Europe at the moment in midfield. I think he has everything, but he's just not been able to ever put that together to quite reach the levels that he probably could with the amount of ability that he has. And if he goes to City for that amount of money, in and around 20 to 25 million or something like that, it looks like, I'll be disappointed. I think we're in a unrealistic battle with City if we're trying to keep him. We can't offer Kovacic what Manchester City can offer him, what Guardiola can offer him at this stage in his career with a year left. So we're better off taking the money. He's the perfect replacement for Gundogan, who apparently is on his way to Barcelona. And I think Kovacic will be an absolute joy to watch for Manchester City fans week in, week out, and neutrals who just love football, because he's a superbly talented player, and players like him who go to work with Pep Guardiola often thrive. Technically gifted when it comes to having the ball at his feet. An unbelievable eye for some very creative passes. And in a team like Manchester City, with the movement of Haaland up front, with other creative minds, and the defensive solidarity that Pep's now added, I can see Kovacic absolutely thriving, as Gundogan did. I'm not sure about his goal output over there, but look, if he improves on what he's done at Chelsea, then he's obviously, Pep's made a difference to his game, because we all know that bar 2 or 3 goals, Kovacic's end product when it comes to the final third is often disappointing, but sometimes spectacular. If it can be a little bit more consistent and often, a little bit more often spectacular, then my Manchester City have an amazing player on their hands, and Chelsea will be questioned letting him go so cheap. But what you got to remember is his age, his injury record, and how much he cost us, and how much on his contract is left as well. Because we didn't pay that much for Kova. We actually didn't. I think it was about 40 mil. And if we get half that, and we've had all of that out of him already, I don't think it's awful business either. It's disappointing. I don't like seeing him go to Manchester City. I prefer HAVERTZ going to Arsenal than Kovacic going to City, to be honest with you, because City's where I look at Chelsea trying to get to, and it is disappointing to remind myself how big the gap is now between Chelsea and Manchester City. But we are on our way back, because Christopher Nkunku has been announced. Finally, our biggest sort of marquee signing is on his way back. And I feel like I'm forgetting someone who's also left today, but I can't think who it is. So 1 second. I knew I was forgetting someone. Mendy. Mendy as well, for some silly money, is on his way to Saudi as well. I can't believe I forgot about him. But honestly, about 2 years ago, he's the best goalie in the world. And he has become that insignificant in my memory after all those horrific mistakes and barely playing and apparently being injured. Thank you, Saudi Arabia again. Thank you, Todd Bowley, for going over on this mission and literally fixing our FFP situation and getting rid of absolute deadwood. Mendy has to go, and the fact that he's going to go and get paid more money as well is beyond me mental. I thought before the Saudi Arabia option, we were going to struggle with so many of these players getting rid of them because their wage demands were ridiculous. They've gone and got doubled. So see you later, Mendy. Thank you. Heroics throughout that Champions League campaign. I'm just happy to see him out the door because it's just one of them other players that you just don't want hanging around. He's not getting game time he wants. He's obviously not good enough for Chelsea Football Club to get us back to the level where we need to be. He was once, not anymore. Thank you, Mendy. See you later. The one that hurts, though, is Kante. Obviously, we're not getting any money out of it, but the official announcement come today, and that one is difficult to take. But I think I'm going to have to make a whole different video about N'Golo because that's one of those players that is up there with Hazard, Zola, Lampard, Drogba, Terry. He's one of the greatest imports to Chelsea Football Club we have ever had. Ever had. Some phenomenal players from abroad have come to Chelsea Football Club and been exceptional. And I know we signed him from the Premier League, but when I say that, I mean an international player. N'Golo Kante is truly one of the best ever players in his position. Ever. You talk about midfield trios in Barcelona, the great Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta. You talk about Modric, Kroos, Casemiro. You talk about N'Golo Kante doing the same as them on his own. I'll miss you forever, N'Golo, and will be forever grateful for the 7 years you spent with us. Ironic, isn't it? Considering he was our number 7, and it almost seems strange to wear that number for a guy that was apparently just a holding midfielder. But N'Golo Kante was our superstar after Hazard left. And look where he took us. He took us to phenomenal heights, winning the Champions League again, beating some of the best teams European football has seen for the last few years, in Real Madrid as one of them. He put in 2 man-of-the-match performances. I will forever be grateful to you, N'Golo Kante. Go and secure the bag. I don't forbid any other Chelsea player doing the same. Honestly, go and do it, because if I was in your position, I would do the same. I would 100% do the same. If I was in a similar part of my career, I would probably go and do the same, because we are talking about generational grandchildren's grandchildren being wealthy forever. So look, go and do it. I do not blame some of these players. It's been an absolute crazy day, probably the most ridiculous 24 hours in Chelsea transfer outgoing history ever. And honestly, I'm excited for what the transfer window holds now, because all of this has happened. We're actually seeing players leaving. We've spent years waiting for players to go, and they're all going. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you're new, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the season starts. I know I said 250, but we hit it like ridiculously. So quick. We're already at 500, so we might as well go for 1,000 before the season starts. Chelsea Football Club, things are looking up. I can't believe it. Come on. Keep the blue flag flying high. I'm going to see you in the next one.